All right. Testing. All right. Looks like we're good. I gotta fix my camera for just a second here. Why is this should not be that low? All right, check. All right, seems like everything's working just fine. I know it's been, I don't even know at this point. I think it's been over a week at this point. But hi, I'm back, y'all. Happy to be back, and yeah. Automatically just gonna go ahead and just say it won't be long tonight. And I'm gonna do my best tonight. All right. I'm better. If you're wondering, I'm not sick. I guess I haven't really felt amazing, but I'm not like sick or anything. But I hurt myself at work. My job isn't like that strenuous, but it does require some labor. But it wasn't like a specific moment or anything, but basically I kind of just I re-aggravated a lot in my body, to the point where I could barely walk for multiple days because my back was hurting so bad. And so I do apologize about this. I don't ever like missing time unless it's necessary, and I don't like doing short streams, but pretty much right now I'm doing better. I can walk around better right now, and I can do a little bit more stuff right now. But it won't lie, man. It's when you're in pain constantly, and I'm sure some of you have gone through this, but when you're in pain constantly, it's like your brain can't even kind of do things normally, if that makes any sense. So I sincerely do apologize for missing some time. I hope it doesn't happen again. I already know though, just so you guys know, just moving ahead, I know the Bulls play on Sunday. I probably won't be streaming on that day either, just due to me trying to get better with everything. But I mean, I've had to miss work this entire week, so I'm kind of all over the place at the moment. So please bear with me. I'm not going to stop streaming for the rest of the season or anything like that. But I am dealing with health issues. That is not me being sick, because I've actually been relatively healthy in terms of my immune system, thank God. But my back has been very bad the past week and a half. So I do apologize. Thank you guys for showing up. But yeah, we're gonna continue just doing what we typically do here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not gonna be, it's typical energy, unfortunately. I'm just, I don't know if you guys have ever related, but when you're in pain, man, it's just like you're exhausted 24/7. So I do apologize for my lack of energy and not being the same here, but I'm gonna be doing my best. So overtime win for the Bulls tonight. I won't lie, I don't know what the hell Emmanuel Quickley's doing. I thought the Bulls did another great job of playing very good throughout the entire game and then finding a way to lose it. So I'm really hoping that this doesn't completely mess up the Bulls' overall tank standings. But great for the young guys tonight that did play. I'm a little bit pissed off at Donovan for the lineup down the stretch. I don't understand why Kevin Huerter's getting so many minutes, honestly, and we gotta get that figured out from Donovan, because that's unacceptable what he did tonight, I think, in closing time. It worked though. Bulls were able to come back, and thanks to that Kobe White 4-point play, that was insane. Don't know what the hell Quickley's doing. Don't know what Quickley's doing for a lot of that game down the stretch there, and Bulls were able to get the overtime win. So at least it wasn't fully directly from the vets, but I do think that we have some vets playing that I don't really understand right now. Bulls need to be in full development mode, and I'm aware that more guys returned tonight, but this was, I don't know if this is exactly the type of win you want, but props to the guys for doing a good job of coming back. But I won't lie, man, I won't be shocked if the Raptors just went full tank mode down the stretch. They couldn't score a damn bucket. Their offense was nowhere to be found. Scotty Barnes was missing shots easily, and it's just like, wow, all right, I guess that's where we're at. So no one wants the 10 seed right now in the Eastern Conference. I get it. But this win does not help the Bulls really that much. We're now tied with San Antonio in terms of overall wins, but we have 3 more losses than them. So we're still better than them in the tank standings. We're probably at this point Portland's going to be ahead of us, but yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled right now from the overall kind of tank standings point. Philly is not going to catch us at this point because Embiid's out for the rest of the season. They've lost 9 straight, and I don't think Brooklyn's going to catch us, but we'll see about that. So overall, it's not great for the overall lottery standings, but you know, it is what it is here. And we'll accept this and just kind of move on, and continue just to get good play from a lot of these guys. What's going on, Charles? Waiting for getting not be perfect 3-point line to stream it. Duncan, I see you. Very funny. No, I mean, look, I think Josh Giddey has been great. He's, even in this game, I would say he played pretty well, even though the shooting wasn't that amazing. But I think Giddey has been very, very good. He's been phenomenal in a lot of the games, and I think he's done very, very well. I'm sure everyone's gonna still just call me the hater, but I just call myself the realistic person. I mean, coming into tonight, Giddey was shooting what? He was like 14 of 18 from 3-point range in the last 3 games or so. He made 8 straight threes. Like, let's just be real. I don't care if you're Steph Curry, you're not going to continue doing that, right? But it was great to see, though, that his 3-point shot is suddenly going down a lot. We were kind of talking about on this channel that the shot looks better in terms of just overall arc on it, and it looked like he just kind of had a better shooter's touch to it, and he's been knocking him down. So that's great to see. However, though, he has, you know, skyrocketed his 3-point percentage all the way up to like 37%, and he was shooting basically 60-something% in these games. So, you know, I do always say, like, as just like with Patrick Williams and just like with everybody, it's like, okay, this is awesome to see. I would much rather see this than you go and fail, but what's par, right? And so I'm going to be more interested to just kind of see moving forward for us this season, like, okay, this is a very nice run for Giddey. I'm happy to see it. He's taking advantage of Levine being gone compared to others not taking advantage. So, you know, I'm going to give him that props and everything with that. He's been a very, very aggressive player, which is what I wanted to see from him this year. And we're finally getting it, which I think is very important. One of the things that he's done is he's gone away from the floater, which is great. I think going away from the floater is a very good sign, because he was relying on that way too much throughout the season. So that's a very good change from him. He's also, I'll show this kind of later in the stream, but like he's more so trying to power his way to the basket compared to trying to finesse his way into buckets at the rim, which is good, right? Like I would much rather him just try to be physical down low and try to use his size to his advantage than him trying to finesse his way into a layup or try to use his athleticism to get a layup. So that's great. I'm very happy that he's doing that, because that's the way he should be playing. And obviously the double doubles are awesome. So I'm very happy about it. I'm happy that he's played this well. But just like I've always said with any of these young players, it's like, what's par? So I want to make this clear, because if you're wondering, I've seen everything on Twitter. Like, I've seen all the discussions. I've seen people saying like, oh my God, the Giddey haters are being so critical. And then there's the people that saying Giddey is your future all-star and he's your Luka Doncic of the future. Okay, let me just be clear with what is happening right now. I've always said this because I think a lot of Bulls fans think that it's black and white when it comes to some stuff, but I do think that a lot of times it's kind of in the middle. 2 things can be true. One, I think Josh Giddey in these past 4 or 5 games, whatever you want to call it, has been absolutely phenomenal in his play. He is knocking down the 3-point shot at a ridiculous rate, something that, you know, we have not seen much of throughout his entire career, so it's great to see that. He's also putting up the stats that you're like, wow, these are pretty eye-popping, and the biggest thing is that the points are coming alongside it. His efficiency was very much better in this past week or so, and it's like, hey, this is awesome to see. There's no denying that he's played phenomenal in this past week or so, whatever you want to call it, okay? But at the same time, the 2 things can be true. I think people have the right to kind of, you know, look at this as being like, okay, this is a very nice stretch. Everyone goes through hot streaks. the guy that, hit the 4-point play tonight. We talked about this on this channel that maybe last year was just a major hot streak for Kobe, right? And a lot of people are coming into my chat saying like, no, this is the new Kobe White. And I'm like, well, I love that we're seeing it. This is phenomenal from Kobe, but like, can you do it another year, right? And so with Giddey, it's a nice February. And just like with a lot of other Bulls players, I've seen them have very nice months. So it's awesome that he's done this. So again, two things can be true. It's awesome that this is happening because it gives me more hope in Josh Giddey in the future. And I think that you're looking at this guy, for him specifically, like in the offseason, he's going to get more money than what we were projecting. So that's great for him. But at the same time, I do think that we should also be kind of pumping the brakes about like, oh, this guy's your point guard of the future and he's your future all-star. Let's be real. I don't know. Like, I need to see this, like not just for a month. Okay. So I don't think that like, if for the people that are questioning it and saying like, hey, this is a nice 5-game stretch, I don't think that's hating. Like, I'm being dead honest. I think that's just like what a lot of us have done with all the young players. I did it with Patrick Williams. I don't know how many people have followed me since the Lauri Markkanen, when Markkanen was on the team, but I think a lot of people remember when Lauri Markkanen had that month of February where he averaged like 27, and a lot of people are like, oh my god, he's our power forward of the future, this is our next superstar, and it's like, hey, let's wait. Like, it's just what we have to do. Okay. So I don't think that's hating. I'm very much giving Josh Giddey a major round of applause, and I think he absolutely deserves it. But I don't think it's hating. Like, I don't think this is straight up hating. Just like with Kobe White tonight, I'm like, hey, you had a phenomenal game tonight. Can you go and do that again? Because you've been playing horribly recently, okay? So I think it's just how we have to just look at it from here on out. It's right now all about evaluation. Giddey has raised this stock, I think, a lot in the past 5 games, but I don't think we need to be raising it to the point where we're like, wow, we have our next Luka Doncic on the team. Because that's the way that some people are talking about Giddey right now, and I think that's a little too far. We'll talk about the contract and everything moving forward here, because I do think Giddey has raised his value overall for the offseason, and I'm happy for him for that. But at the same time, we still have another month to play. So if the offseason ended today, obviously he's going to get paid a lot more than he was going to get paid a month ago, where January was arguably his worst month of the season. But we got to get through March, right? And we got to also get to the end of the season before we can make a full evaluation of him. So continue doing this, Giddey. I want you to continue doing this, because that's going to prove me wrong. That's going to prove all your doubters wrong, and all the people that were supporting you constantly, that were saying that he can become the next all-star for this team. Hey, I mean, they're looking all like, they're the smart ones, but it's 5 games, right? And I think that's okay to just kind of just admit that. So no, this isn't this. If you're wondering if I came back when Giddey didn't have the best of game, no, I have been in severe pain. And have barely been able to walk or do anything. So I do apologize for me missing time. So yeah, I'm hoping this continues for Giddey, because this will be awesome for the Bulls moving forward, and him for himself, obviously. But I mean, if he's gonna, put up 20 plus and 10, right? Then yeah, I mean, we're looking at the guy that's gonna be probably like alongside he's gonna be your all-star moving forward, right? So that helps the Bulls with this rebuild. That really pushes things along. But is he going to do this? And I think, unfortunately, there is one other question that I always have in mind when it comes to Giddey, and we'll talk about that moving forward. Giddey took care most of the game with Zach Collins, who would rather be the starting center with how he fits the cutting in with Giddey, etc. We'll talk about Zach Collins. Yeah, I'm impressed with Zach Collins, but I'm also going to be challenging you guys tonight about Zach Collins, as well. Kobe showed up for the whole quarter for the first time in a while. I mean, he was phenomenal in that 15 points in that fourth quarter. I mean, you got to give it to Kobe, right? Looking sound good. I appreciate it, Viper Strike. Thank you, Darius. Appreciate y'all being here. There's a play with around 4 minutes remaining in the fourth that Kobe scored. Even though he scored, I was absolutely displeased with him for not passing for multiple open shots. Was it the play where Collins had a guy sealed down low? I don't know if that was 4 minutes left to go, but I remember that fast break. But I mean, yeah. I've been dying to know your opinion on Giddey's hot streak and whether it's changed how you view him as a long-term piece. I mean, I'm mostly overall, like, I'm not I haven't really changed too much in terms of Giddey long term, because before this whole streak happened for Giddey, okay, I've been adamant that if I'm choosing between Kobe White and Josh Giddey, I'm choosing Josh Giddey. I've been adamant about that, okay? I've also said that the Bulls need to re-sign him this offseason before all this happened, okay? If you want to go look at the VODs to double check me, go ahead. But I've been adamant that that's the Bulls need to re-sign him. Now, when it comes to still about the fit, like, I still think it's pretty similar. I've been kind of saying that I don't know if he's your main ball handler in the future. It looks really good right now, right? But he's gone on this incredible run from 3-point range, so like his 3-point shot is drastically helping his scoring, right? So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna continue shooting 38% from 3-point range, then yeah, I mean, this is the reason why I said that he had to get the 3-point shot if he's gonna be a main ball handler, because that's gonna be the reason why he's gonna be successful with the ball in his hands. But if he doesn't get that 3-point shot, then there's no reason to give him the ball in his hands for, you know, multiple possessions or being a main ball handler. For right now, I still am just kind of like, I still think he's just like this tweener of like, yeah, he's gonna have the ball in some spots. He's gonna be a sort of a hub in the offense where you can really use his passing to really help the team. Specifically in the fast break, he should be a guy that the team should be looking for on the fast break, because he's been very good in the fast break. But in terms of, again, if he's gonna be the guy, right? Like, when I talk about this, I'm talking about as if we're gonna treat him like he is Luka Doncic, okay? As he is basically the entire engine to the offense, okay? I'm not there. Like, I don't think anyone should be there. If he's going to continue doing stuff like this, then I think he's your secondary ball handler for sure. But in terms of as he's the centerpiece of the future, no, he's not the centerpiece. He's not build your team around piece. Is he part of the future? Absolutely. I've said that he should be part of the future, and that's not going to change. But I do think what has changed is that you're probably looking at paying him more money this offseason, and I think that's fine. But again, that's if the season ended today. So like, he has to go and have a good March for us to stay at that moment of like, oh, we're gonna pay him a lot more this upcoming offseason. But in terms of, you know, where I see him kind of fitting, like, I think he's just still a forward that's like a Swiss Army knife for the team. I think he's more Draymond Green than he is Luka Doncic, but I think he can kind of be like this in between area of like, yeah, he'll average around like, you know, 14-15 points, and he'll give you like the 8 and 8 as well. But if he can get that 3-point percentage to where we're seeing it recently, right, then he'll average more points per game. And that's a very valuable player to have moving forward, as a kind of like this in between guy, Swiss Army knife, that you can kind of play at a lot of positions, right? It gives you flexibility, especially with the 3-point shot, to kind of put him in all these different areas. That being said, again, like, he's been the main guy since Zach has gone out. So is he able to kind of still put up these sort of numbers when he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much? Like, I think early in the season kind of showed like I don't know if that's really possible. So there's always answers I need for certain questions. But the biggest thing for me recently is that, one, defensively he's been better. But two is just the way he's been getting to the basket is much better compared to earlier in the season. So I'm hoping that's a very good sign for what things are to come, because I'm happy that he's finally using his size the way he should be using it. And I'm going to hope that it works out, where he can consistently get to the rim and use his size to finish there, instead of trying to finesse his way or trying to like float her up a shot, because that's something he needs to get away from. And we even saw a few of it tonight. If you haven't heard her, /TreyJones/.com's play. So Trey Jones is very much, it hasn't changed. Like, I think Trey Jones is still kind of just like, well, we'll see what we do in the offseason. He's a unrestricted free agent. Clearly a backup point guard. His overall finishing at the basket has been nice. And I think that, you know, he's been kind of put in a nice role so far. It's just like, yep, you're going to be put on the small guard if there's a small guard. You're going to be kind of in this specific role of like guarding those types of guys. I think he is very clearly the guy that can be handling backup point guard responsibilities. Bulls just have to make a decision on him this upcoming offseason, though. They have bird rights, so I mean, if they want to bring him back, they have every ability to do so. Kevin Huerter has finally found a shot, and so I'm happy to see that. I'm overall happy that he's, he at one point he was like shooting 50% from in like the last 4 games from 3-point range, which is great. I'm still like, if you're wondering about like, okay, what is he for the Bulls moving forward? I mean, he's a off the bench sharpshooter. Okay, so is he worth the contract he's getting paid? No, he's not worth $18 million next season. But it does help maybe the Bulls moving forward to like, okay, for after next season with the contract, it's like, hey, yeah, maybe we can like resign him pretty cheaply and like he's your sharpshooter, which that'd be fine. In terms of being able to move the contract, I don't think that's going to be able to, like, you're not going to be able to move him. He still doesn't do enough elsewhere to the point where it's like it's worth taking any sort of risk on him. So I just don't think that the Bulls will be able to move him at all. But in terms of him being a sharpshooter for the future, I'm like, hey, this is great. Like, if he can find that stroke again, which, as I think yet again we can talk about this now, he does have future seasons to go off of, so he has a little bit more credibility than others. But it's like, this is a nice hot streak, so like, are you gonna be shooting 50% in the month of, like, in the last 2 weeks of February, or are you gonna be shooting, come March you're gonna be back down to 29%? So it's, again, nice little streak, but I need to see more because you've been pretty awful the entire season. So let's see you continue doing this, right? Hence why these games are important. Like, if you don't have a reason to tune into the Bulls games now, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think there's a lot to watch for, hence what we're seeing recently. Even if you want the Bulls to be losing, like, which I do want the Bulls to help their tank standings, but this is, reasons to watch. It's like, okay, like, Kevin Huerter sucked in Sacramento this year, and he's on a much better run so far with the Bulls post All-Star break. Can he continue doing that, right? That's a major question. Unfortunately, everything else is still kind of just the same, where he doesn't really do anything else on the floor. His defense is suspect, but having a sharpshooter with that doesn't really need the ball too much. Like, yeah, if you can re-sign him for pretty cheap, then yeah, you can keep him around. So I think in terms of my view for him, it's like we've gone from, okay, we're just basically hoping when the contract goes away, to like, okay, maybe we re-sign him if it fits right. Granted, the Bulls have a ton of guards on the roster currently, but who knows what the roster looks like next season, which is going to look probably relatively the same. But yeah, who knows what's going to look past that. So if there's a spot for him and it's a nice deal, not $18 million a season, and he's going to come off the bench, then sure. I mean, I'm all for it, but it has to be a very tradable contract at the end of the day. Zach Collins. I think Collins, I'll go ahead and I'll say sort of an apology to him, because he has done a very, very good job defensively, and that's been very impressive to me. I think that's been the biggest thing for me, is just like, wow, okay, like he is really moving his feet well. I did not expect that for when he came over from San Antonio. I really did think that he was not going to look too great defensively. And so not necessarily him being a rim protector, but him in the pick and roll sets has been very solid. I think he's done a good job of switching up when to show, when to blitz, when to drop back, which is great. I think that's the biggest thing I'm going to owe an apology for, because I did not think he was going to give any sort of defensive effort like that. In terms of him being a rim protector, he had that nice block on Grady Dick today, which is great. Don't know if that's going to, continue with him. I do think that some teams are just kind of like running into him pretty easily, where it's just like you're running into a wall. So there's that. In terms of the overall numbers, I mean, look, I appreciate the double-doubles recently. He's had phenomenal games, okay? But he's also played a ton of minutes, and he's playing as the only big on a small team. When you're pretty much the only center, I would hope that you at least try to get a double-double, because you're going to be playing a lot of minutes. So this is kind of my challenge to people, because like, I know all of a sudden people are like, look at Giddey's stats. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm realizing Giddey's stats, but like, look at Zach Collins' stats recently right now. Like, are we going to be saying that because Zach Collins put up 15, 13, and 5 tonight, and he's had amazing games recently, that he is the center of the future now for this squad? Like, let's be real, I don't think Zach Collins should be the center of the future for this squad moving forward. And if he's going to be playing 40 minutes tonight, then yeah, 15 and 13 is pretty solid for a center, but I would hope that you're putting that also in 40 minutes if you're a 7-footer in today's league. So, yeah, I'm very impressed with the defense. I do think that the rebounding is sort of just the team construct. I mean, Vooch has kind of lived off this entire career with the Bulls, where I've said that Vooch is not that good of a rebounder, but just because he's the biggest guy on the floor, that he's just going to get the rebounds. So I do think Collins, his rebounding is kind of, it's looking nice partly because of that. But I'm not going to take anything away from his defensive effort. That's been very, very, very impressive to me. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he's your backup. If, you trade Jalen Smith or something, then sure. Is he worth $18 million this season? No, he's not. I mean, he's going to be making $18 million next season, and assuming that he's not going to be your starter, which I guess he could be at this point if you actually do trade Vooch. But even if he is your starter, I don't know if that's even worth it. So, I think overall for the Bulls, it's still, you're not going to be able to trade him, even if he is playing this well recently. But maybe we'll see how it works out in the future. I think the Bulls, no matter what, I think they should just be moving on from him overall, and trying to go a little bit younger. But for now, I mean, yeah, you're here. Any good play, then we'll gladly take it. Yeah, and I'm really hoping that it's gonna continue for him. I agree, Darius. The shift in the Bulls has been great to watch. I'm curious to Duncan stay as he recovers and able to get more input on backlog games even. Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't worry. I have the games also recorded, so if we need to talk about it, sure. Is that Collins' apology form waiting for you if I can wait until you're feeling better? I mean, again, so let's just say this, okay? Let's say Vooch returns in about the next two games or so, and Collins goes back to the bench and he's only putting up like 4 and 4 and backup minutes, and he's getting like 18 minutes a night. Like, do I still need to sign that apology form? Like, come on. Like, I do think that when you're the only center on the team and you're playing 40 minutes, you should be getting double-digit rebounds on this specific team. This team is small as hell. So, like, props to you for getting it. You're doing your job, but I do think that it's a little bit overblown recently in terms of the rebounds. The defense, I'm going to give to him. So I'll sign the apology form for that, which is the defense that he's played. He's done a very good job in the pick-and-roll defense. In terms of the rebounding, I'm not that impressed, just because I've said that Vooch has been living off of this with the Bulls since he's been here. So I'll sign the apology form for the defense though. I'll stick to Giddey $23 to $27 million worth from the start of the season, even though the streak is above that for now. I expect it to settle as he plays run less off ball and Vooch returns. So let me just say this. Okay, we'll talk about the contract now, because I know that everyone wants to discuss this contract. Okay, so before this streak happened with Josh Giddey, he was averaging under 12 points per game. Okay, so, we'll talk about before Levine was traded specifically. He was averaging under 12 points per game. Okay. At that moment in time, I was saying to you guys that, well, if the Bulls go ahead and let's say that offseason happened right now and he has an restricted free agency. And again, this is when Giddey was coming off his worst month of the season, which was in January, okay? Giddey would, I don't even know what he would get, but it would not be over 20, because you're looking at not a lot of teams having cap space this summer, and the mid-level exception is going to be $14 million, okay? Or around there. It might be a little bit less. So it's like, maybe a team's willing to throw the MLE at him, right? But if you're the Bulls, you're just like, yeah, so we're not going to offer you a contract until you get a contract. And then we match basically what you want or whatever you sign, okay? And I'm like, well, with the way that he's played recently, and he hasn't played very well at that moment in time, okay? I'm talking about that moment in time. I'm like, I don't really know what he's going to get. I don't think a lot of teams can be willing to take the risk on him, because it's like, first off, you don't have cap space. A lot of teams don't have cap space. But then if you do have cap space, why would you spend it all on Josh Giddey, who has not overall had that great of a season? Okay. So now with the recent stretch, it's like, okay, we're probably not looking at mid-level exception anymore, which is, again, $14 million area. Okay. But at the same time, I do want to keep in mind that this is restricted free agency. Okay. If this was unrestricted free agency, then I think we're automatically talking what you're saying, Charles, with like the 23 to 27 million dollars. Okay, I think we're automatically talking there. But because this is restricted, I don't know. Like, I genuinely do not know at this point. I think that we can probably be looking a little bit under that. So we're looking probably around 20 million a year, at least in my head. But at least of what the Bulls should be doing, which is the proper way to do this, which is that you just go ahead and just send them out in restricted free agency and say, go and get a contract. Then yeah, I think it'll be under, probably, it'll definitely be under 27. But, you know, we'll see where the exact number lands. The thing is, though, is just, I just want to keep in mind that, like, if for some reason, this is the reason why I try to keep telling Bulls fans, like, this is restricted free agency, okay? Like, this isn't as if Josh Giddey has all the leverage right now, because he doesn't, okay? He is not going to be able to go in restricted free agency and say, hey, I can leave and go wherever I want to right now, so you better pay me some good chunk of change for me to stay. And the problem is, like, if for him, it's just like, yeah, you played well recently, but the problem is that we get to match any offer you get. So other teams know that, right? Other teams know, like, okay, well, if we send him an offer, the Bulls just match it, then we basically just waste a day of free agency with the cap space that we try to sign with Josh Giddey with. So he doesn't have all the leverage in the world here, okay? So if this does happen where Giddey only gets, like, you know, $16 million per year, like, I wouldn't be that shocked, just because of how the market plays out. Every single free agency is different, where we think, like, oh, maybe this player's gonna get a lot more money, and then they just don't. And then some players just are more valuable in certain free agencies just due to how the market works, okay? My only thing that I'm also just gonna say about this Josh Giddey contract coming up is just that the new CBA has really hampered teams in terms of the amount of money that they're probably gonna be willing to spend. If you're wondering about if Giddey can go to, like, a contender, like, it's a very small shot. So, like, you're automatically seeing, like, the reason why I'm talking about this is just because, like, if you think that Giddey has leverage heading into restricted free agency, the problem is that if like some of the winning teams that are spending a lot of money right now, when maybe they would be in play for someone like Josh Giddey, they're probably not going to be in play for him right now, because it's like, why would we spend that much money? And we'd also have to do a sign-in trade. Not to mention then it's spending more money, and heading into the first apron or second apron is just not worth it. But oh, by the way, if you do a sign-in trade, you are then capped at the first apron. So it's just like, you can't even do that in the first place. So I'm just saying that we need to just kind of keep in mind that if the Bulls play it right, like, if the few teams that spend the money in free agency that they, like, the cap space that they have, like, if that's all gone and Giddey still doesn't have a contract offer, then it's just like, wow, like, hey, what does he do now? So yeah, I'm just gonna be interested to see how it plays, because he's definitely, like, I don't think it's definitely out of, like, the mid-level exception area, which is, like, you know, $14 million a year. I'm expecting him probably around 20 right now, which is, I think, fine. Like, that's not an issue. But we are talking about AK. So AK has lost a lot of negotiations. I know, Viper Strike, if you're in the chat, I saw you tweet one time saying that AK hasn't lost that many negotiations. He did lose a major one, which was the Vucevic, which he did twice, which is the Vucevic trade itself, but then he also lost the Nikola Vucevic contract extension that he gave out, or re-sign, or just whatever the new contract, whatever you want to call it. Because, I mean, very clearly, at least in my opinion, Vuce should have had the third year for Vuce's contract that he's currently on should have been at least non-guaranteed in some sort of fashion. I don't care what it would have been, but, like, it should have been non-guaranteed some way. But instead, though, it's fully guaranteed, and he's making more money next season than this season. So, AK has lost many contracts or negotiations, and Vuce, at that time, he didn't have, like, it wasn't like he had many offers on the table. A lot of people were saying that was a good contract. I said it was pretty bad. I was like, this is not good. You should have at least gotten the team option. So, well, going off the Patrick Williams contract that AK gave out to him this past offseason, and then this one that with Giddey coming up here, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, the Kobe White and Ayodasumu contracts look amazing. But at the same time, you didn't lock him in for that many years. You only got him for 3 years. So there's just kind of just like this push and pull of, like, yeah, I mean, Kobe was cheap, but it's only for 3 seasons, right? Same thing with Io. It's only for 3 seasons. So like, what are we looking at here? Pat, obviously, he tried to jump the market because he thought Pat would get more, which I thought that was a fine thing at the time, but it wasn't. Like, it very clearly wasn't. So he's gonna have to get a good read on the market this time, because I would personally, again, I'm personally not gonna jump the market on Giddey. I would just let him just head in restricted free agency and just test it, just see what happens. And if he gets the $35 million he wants, a season, which a lot of people are saying that he doesn't want that, but I'm like, well, Jalen Suggs got paid what, 35 or 30 million a year. It's like, I wouldn't be shocked if he's trying to like get as much as he can, which he should be doing. So, but if he somehow gets that, then maybe we just think about letting him go. But I would kind of bet my money that he isn't going to get his $30 million, because not many teams have cap space this upcoming summer, and doing a sign and trade with a $30 million per year contract is very hard. So I overall think that it's going to be interesting to watch with the Giddey contract. But for the people that's saying that he's going to get close to the 30 million, I'm just going to say pump the brakes, because you have to think about, again, this isn't unrestricted free agency. This is restricted free agency. It's Giddey, yes, he could leave, but if any team gives him an offer, the Bulls can match it. So it's not like he has the most leverage in the world overall. I visually Josh Giddey fanning hits the rim with his strength and length is extremely crafty in an unorthodox way. Give him an offseason to polish up. I think that the way that he's done recently in terms of getting to the rim is awesome. I just don't think he's going to get much better, but it's been much better than what we saw recently. So, continue just attacking it. I think the biggest thing he still needs to polish up is let's just see about the 3-point shot, right? Really polish it up, because I do think that's the biggest thing for him moving forward. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to continue playing like this is great. Just hopefully it works out. Guys, I'm not going to shoot over Giddey for the stretch. I'd be let down by that if I was a Raptors fan. I don't know what the Raptors were doing, honestly. Their offense was so bad. Like, it wasn't just like Scottie couldn't shoot over Giddey. It was just like everything about that offense down the stretch for the Raptors was just like, what the hell is happening? I really just don't see it. I don't know what the hell they're doing. So was it just a massive tank job? Then good job, Darko. Like, you did a phenomenal job of tanking this game down the stretch. But God, man, like, I know that they got Brandon Ingram and then they extended him, but like, dear Lord, that did not look great for the Raptors, honestly. Philly's looking so trash even for packing Embiid. Honestly, they shouldn't have played him all this season. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's hindsight, obviously, but like, I agree. They look so bad. Yeah, they're not gonna catch them. I won't lie. I won't be shocked if like after this Embiid news that like the Philly goes on like a 3-game winning streak or something like that. Just because like now the other players that they're gonna be playing now, like there's like not pressure on them. It's just like just go out and play, right? So it's like they just know like, oh, we're not gonna be like we're not gonna be like hell out like watched by the coaches, and like any sort of mistake it's like we get pulled. So I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen for Philly, but I don't think the Bulls are going to be catching them in the tank standings, unfortunately. Yeah, the Philly looks cooked. So they need to lose as many games as possible because their pick is top 6 protected right now. There's a Giddey run offense, and when he is off is huge. I mean, recently, but I do think that this on for Giddey has been a ridiculous hot streak. I'm not feeling Kobe for his one quarter in the last 4 games, though. Hers look better to me, and that's not a high bar. No, I agree. I think Kobe's been pretty awful until tonight. I'm not giving Kobe any grace. Like, I give Kobe that little slack the first game back from the All-Star break, which was the Knicks game. I said, you know what? Hey, like, everyone's coming off the All-Star break. Everyone's rusty. Like, it is what it is. But then he had a lot of bad games after that. So, Kobe is not getting any sort of grace. He needs to be better moving forward. Tonight's great. Like, good job tonight. But just like how I said with Giddey, I'm like, okay, well, he put up 24 points tonight. Well, go and do that again. It's just I think it's valid questions. And, if I just know this, like the Kobe White fans that were in the chat early in the season telling me that Kobe White was a better player than Zach LaVine, if I just said what I said tonight about Kobe, which is that, oh, hey, you put up 24 points tonight, go and do it again, all the Kobe nights would just be like, hey, how dare you hate on Kobe? How dare you ask such a thing about Kobe White? So again, I'm not hating. I'm just saying, just go do better. Like, you got to show me the consistency before we're going to be talking about you as, yeah, you're, for Kobe White specifically, like, you're not a 25 point per game scorer in this league. Like, you haven't done it. He had that nice, you know, overall, like 2.5 month stretch last season, or 3 month stretch, whatever you want to call it. It's like, yeah, that's great to see. Go and do that for an entire season, right? And hence why the questions were there. So I don't think it's hating for me just to be like, okay, nice 5-game stretch, Giddy. I'm happy to see this. It gives me more confidence in the future about you. Now go do it more. I don't think it's hating at all. I just think that it should be honest questions, just like how we're questioning a lot of things. Like, hey, Patrick Williams, what the hell are you doing? I know you're injured right now, but like, this has been awful this season for Pat, and I think that's fine just to kind of point it out. I overall think that we should be questioning certain moments from guys. Hence, Patrick Williams has been honestly the definition of inconsistency throughout the season. Also, Giddy's defense has actually been pretty good too. Yeah, I think Giddy's off-ball defense looks so much better compared to obviously the start of the season. He looks engaged defensively off-ball. On ball, it's still, yeah, there are moments on ball, it's still a little bit rough. We saw some moments, especially in the open court, and I understand it's hard to stop guys in the open court, but, you know, I don't expect that from Giddy. If you could give me that good off-ball defense, then we'll gladly take it. Remember Herter cooking us in a Kings uniform? Oh, I mean, yeah, Herter has cooked us in an Atlanta uniform, bro. Herter, when he was with the Hawks, would destroy us, but he just has had a horrible season, bro. Like, until recently, he has been pretty awful. So once again, it's just like with everybody, it's like if you're gonna consistently be bad for a stretch, then I feel like we have to then ask of you to be consistently good for a stretch, to be like, okay, are you officially, this is the new you, or is this just a nice streak that you've been on? Because everybody, including Steph Curry, goes on hot and cold streaks. So I think it is harsh of me because Herter overall has been a pretty consistent shooter in his career, but I also just the way that I was looking at some of his numbers, I'm just like, bro, like Herter before he got traded to the Bulls had missed the most wide open shots from 3-point range out of any player in the league. Okay, like that's very, very alarming. Whether you are just on a cold streak or whether it's just, you know, you're just, you know, you're washed, like I don't care. It's just that was alarming as hell to see that from Herter. So it's like I'm that's the reason why with Herter, you know, it's great. I'm happy for him continuing doing this because it's the only thing you do. He doesn't do anything else on the court. But I can see it for a much longer stretch. I will also say, I think Billy Donovan's playing way too many minutes. I don't need to see Kevin Herter out there for 28 minutes, bro. I'm very fine with him playing 20 a night, maybe even 18 a night. I don't need to see him for 28 minutes a night. That's just not necessary. I don't know what Donovan's thinking. And I understand that he was like one of like 2 people making threes tonight. I get it, but it's just odd decisions by Billy. I don't need Kevin Herter playing 28 minutes tonight. That's just insane to me. Giddy isn't a star, he's just a good piece. I completely agree. Like, I think Giddy will be a good piece moving forward. Like, don't get me wrong. If you're ever questioning, I'm sorry, I'm just going through chat as is. I'm not up to date with you guys, but like, I'm not here to say that Giddy's gonna be like, oh, he's gonna be bad. I'm just saying that like we can't just be sitting here thinking he is Luka Doncic. Okay, a lot of people are talking as if Josh Giddey is Luka Doncic recently. I'm like, listen, bro, I would love Josh Giddey to turn in Luka Doncic. It'd be phenomenal if he does. Okay, I would be so happy if Josh Giddey turned in Luka Doncic. Okay, this shows that I'm not a hater. Okay, like I want Giddey to succeed. If he turns into Luka Doncic, then I'll become his biggest fan. But at the same time, he's not Luka Doncic. Okay, but is he going to be a nice piece moving forward for the Bulls? I think he can be. I think he has a very kind of like set out plan for him moving forward where he can do that. The only thing though, this is just kind of like my main question with him moving forward, is just like he's been a lot on ball since Zach has been gone. Okay, but if this is the numbers he's putting on ball, then like what's his adjustment when, you know, the Bulls get their next big piece of the future? Like, let's say the Bulls, you know, lottery luck hits and we get Cooper Flag, right? It's like, okay, now how do you adjust to that? Like, I understand that Cooper Fleck isn't like, you know, he's not going to be like the point guard. I'm just saying that, like, with Giddey, it's going to be, you're not going to have the ball as much, okay? He'll still get his moments. Like, he'll probably still be, like, even when you get Cooper Fleck, he's still probably the secondary ball handler on the team, but he's not going to be the main ball handler, which is what he's been doing recently. Like, he has been the guy recently. And that's with Kobe, and that's with Lonzo on the floor. So it's just kind of just my question of, like, well, what is he with another guy, like, when he's not the guy on the floor? And so that's just kind of like my biggest question with Giddey, is just moving forward, like, can you adjust to being sort of more in like a Draymond Green type role, where you don't have the ball as much? You need to kind of work your ways around where you're still going to get your assists, because you still are such a phenomenal passer, and then, you know, open court opportunities is going to get you those assists. But it's like your on-ball opportunities will go down, and it's not because it's like, oh, we're going to only play off-ball. It's just that you have another guy all of a sudden on your team that is just the main guy. So I just kind of, I'm just like questioning it about that sort of fit. But that's sort of like a problem where I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. Like, that's not something that I'm like, okay, this is going to be detrimental or anything like that. He's ideal if your star is a center or power forward to feed them well, as well as boost cutting movement, role players, fast breaks, and a good defensive team. Well, here's the thing with Giddey that I think he's gonna bring value specifically with this. When it comes to Giddey and his kind of like his versatility in terms of player, like, positioning, like what position does he play? Let's say, for example, the Bulls get Dylan Harper, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, if the Bulls get Dylan Harper, then I'm expecting Dylan Harper to be your main guy in the future. Like, he won't be James Harden, but like I look at him and as if he's like sort of the way he plays is similar to James Harden. But like, he's gonna ideally be your main piece, okay? So what does that mean for Giddey, right? Like, he's not gonna have the ball in his hands as much, because now suddenly, you know, we have another ball dominant guard on the team. But for Giddey, then it's like, I think he can move down to like that power forward spot and kind of just be like this like tweener forward of like, I can handle the ball a little bit. I can, you know, ideally shoot the three, right? So you can be sort of off ball. You can run the pick and roll where he's a screener, or you can inverse it with him as the ball handler, and like, let's say Dylan Harper's a screener, right? And with his rebounding ability, like, I'm not afraid of losing, you know, size or any rebounding ability if he's playing the four, right? If let's say the Bulls go and get a big as like their, you know, main centerpiece of the future, then like, yeah, Giddey can be the guard in a sense and be more of a ball handler and kind of sort of be more of a hub, right? Like, that's kind of where I look at Giddey's value. It's like, okay, whatever sort of lineup the Bulls are going to be having moving forward, it's like, I can kind of see him kind of sliding in anywhere, which is kind of what I'm happy to look at with Giddey. And so, you know, ideally then the biggest thing is yet again the 3-point shot, because I know he's been hitting it recently, but again, if someone's shooting over 60% from 3-point range in the past 4 games, then it's like, okay, nice hot streak. Let's see what par is, because once again, you know, in the first couple of games of the season, Giddey shot 44% from 3-point range, and everyone's like, oh my god, see, he fixed his shot, and I said, what's par? And he dropped down to 31%. So whatever par is, hopefully for Giddey moving forward, which I'm hoping is going to continue to just go up, then it's going to help him just with his versatility moving forward, which is the biggest thing for me. If you can just be this sort of this sort of piece that you can just kind of slide around on any sort of team. I'd be that's a very valuable thing to have. Lonzo was his first 30-plus minute game in 1,043 days, or 1,143 days. Everyone needs a comeback player award. They absolutely need to have that. I just think that it would cause more controversy for sure. But yeah, I do think that we should have that for sure. We need All-Star level 5. I mean, I would love an All-Star level 5. Is it gonna happen though? I mean, how do we get that, right? So about Kobe cheeks white. I mean, I think, well, I talked about it earlier, but I mean, Kobe was phenomenal at 4th, but he's been pretty bad overall recently. Organotics. I mean, look. So I appreciate you guys saying that, because it's like, you know, you think it's grounded, right? If you go on Twitter right now and you post what I said on Twitter tonight, everyone's gonna be calling me Josh Giddey hater, which I don't think is fair. Like, I think that, like, there's there is hating, but then there's also just like overall just being just realistic. And I think with Giddey, as much as I want to be like, oh my god, we got our point guard of the future here, I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there yet. I hope. I'll be, you know, if he continues to do this for the rest of this season and then into next season, then yeah, I'll shut the hell up. Like, I'll say it. Then Josh Giddey's our point guard of the future. He's gonna be averaging 20 plus, 10 and 8 every single day. But you know, we have to keep in mind, okay, that like this is not me hating. I'm just being realistic about this, okay? When I go to Giddey splits, okay, this month of December here, for the month of January, okay, Giddey played in 16 games. He averaged 10 points per game, and his 3-point percentage was up higher. But like, you're averaging 10 points per game as a guy that we look at as like a main ball handler, okay? Like, you could argue this was his worst month of the season, and this was over a 16-game stretch. So we're in a 5-game stretch right now where he's averaging basically 20, okay, or over 20, excuse me. And he's shooting an insane percentage from 3-point range. All right. But I have a 16-game stretch here where he averaged 10, and I have another 16-game stretch here where he averaged basically, let's say, 11, and he shot, 29% from 3-point range. Okay, so not me hating. I'm just saying. I'm like, listen, we need to just keep this in mind, because again, this is the start of the season for Josh Giddey. The first 5 games, he shot 58% from 3-point range in October, and everyone was telling me, "See, Duncan, Josh Giddey fixed his shot," and I'm like, okay, hold on, what's par? And I'm just like, let's just wait. What is par for Josh Giddey from 3-point range? It's not going to be 58%, okay? And then we all knew that, but a lot of people were like, oh, see, he's going to shoot over 40% from 3-point range this season. And then he had 2 months under 30%. So this is just why I'm just kind of saying, just stay realistic. Is this going to continue for Josh Giddey where he's shooting 53% from 3-point range for the rest of the season? Probably not, okay? So what is he going to come back down to? So right now for the season, after the updated stats, he's shooting 38% from 3-point range this season. Phenomenal, right? But 6 games ago, he was shooting 33%, right? So what's par? Is he going to go back down to that 33% at the end of the season, where we're talking about, wow, Josh Giddey had a very nice, 6-7 game stretch where he shot basically 36% or better, and then he had a streak of hitting 8 straight threes in a row, which is insane to think about, because then the month of March was not great, right? Or is he going to go in the month of March and have, pretty solid consistency from 3-point range where he's shooting about, let's say, 36 to 37%, which 37% now is league average. So that'd be fantastic, right? And so that's going to give me more confidence that he's going to be more of a league average 3-point shooter moving forward. But as I've said, hot streaks are hot streaks. I mean, he had a hot streak to start the season. Five games, shot at 58%, nearly 60% from 3-point range on 3.4 attempts per game. It's like, wow, look at that. Like, that's incredible. We know what happened in the next 2 months. So, again, just keeping this in mind. I'm really hoping that he continues shooting great. I'm not here to hate. I'm just keeping it in mind. And I'm really hoping that he proves me wrong about being, not the point guard of the future in a sense. But continue playing like this, then yeah, you're absolutely the point guard of the future. But you're shooting, 60% from 3-point range. Like, that's not going to continue. Imagine we're rewarding Giddey with a big contract just for him to sneak next year. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen either, obviously. But yeah, I think, again, we need to play restricted free agency correctly here. It should not be, just give him a big contract early. So if people didn't ascend, they regressed. Oh, absolutely, they've regressed this year for sure. We're at the point now where we can say that. Ideally, that changes next year, but yeah. Soundtrack was nice to see Lonzo hit that 3 and dance after. I know it's been said so much, but it's crazy this guy's playing, let alone doing it. Oh my god, bro. I genuinely cannot believe Lonzo is playing still. Yeah, that 3 was insane. Yeah, I mean, Lonzo is looking, the biggest thing for me always is just the fact that he looks so fast still. I don't know how the hell he does it, but like, that's insane to me. It's just he looks so fast still. Yeah, the 3-point shot, it's definitely not exactly the best right now. But he looks still very solid out there. So I know a lot of people are happy he's back. I personally would have traded him, but yeah, I mean, he's here. So I don't know what the Bulls' plan is moving forward, but I mean, you're looking at a guy that is definitely starting next season. Because I mean, hell, he's starting now on a minutes restriction, which I think we're just kind of breaking at this point. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think we're looking at a guy that's, he's either starting 2 or starting 3 next season at the start of the season, assuming that they don't trade him in the middle of the offseason, which would be kind of shocking if they do. But like, it's also not like the worst thing in the world if they did that. But I do think that with Lonzo, we're looking at he's probably going to be either your starting shooting guard or small forward next season. Yeah, we'll move on from there. But the fact that we're there is crazy. I mean, it's just insane that we're even there at this point. Lonzo struck his broken pause. I don't. It wasn't that bad, right? I mean, yeah, 4 for 10 tonight is not anything to be upset about. I mean, he 4 for 10 is great. Overall for the season, it's been very up and down for sure. But I wouldn't say it was broken tonight. It has definitely been inconsistent. I will say that. But hence, again, I'm not going to be too critical of Lonzo. The fact that he's playing is a miracle. For me, it's not just Giddey's own stats during the stretch, but also the way he has been elevating others. His first quarter starting is so impactful, even though he only scored 2 points. So the first quarter, I mean, look, like Giddey was racking up the rebounds and the assists in that first quarter. I do think that most of the assists, though, were not off of him necessarily collapsing the defense. It was mostly just him finding the guys, which, again, very valuable. But it's the reason why I've always consistently said that he's more Draymond Green than he is Luka Doncic. But I mean, again, like that's very valuable thing to have. If you can find the open shooters because they're wide open, and not because of anything you did necessarily, but just that, you know, the ball swung to you and you find the open shooter, then that's very valuable to have, right? But yeah, that sort of stuff though is the reason why I've been saying that like Giddey should be, you know, he should be more prioritized over Kobe moving forward, because Giddey's stats do stand out in terms of like, okay, if he's not scoring, then at least you know you're going to get the rebounding and you know you're going to get the assist with him. And I do think that right now he's been a much better decision maker in transition compared to Kobe. He's had his rough moments still, but I do think that compared to Kobe White, I mean, he's been much better in transition for the entire season. So you're going to value that stuff over what Kobe does, and Kobe's not playing any defense. He's very hot and cold, and his overall, you know, rebounding is nothing to be said. His playmaking is okay. It's just, you know, bad decisions more often from Kobe. So, yeah, hence, again, why you would keep Josh Giddey over Kobe White right now. I'll accept it in advance. Zach's weakness is not shooting threes when open and fit. Oh, I mean, yeah, I think Collins, he's not going to be shooting threes anymore. He's going to shoot them for the rest of this season, but I won't be shocked if he's just kind of done after this year. We don't need him shooting threes, honestly. He's honestly too good inside. Like he's too good of a screener, and he's too mobile for me to be like, yeah, we need him out there on the perimeter all the time. Like, sure. He shoots the ball. Oh yeah, I think Giddey's a phenomenal distributing, which has always been the thing about him. Like, yeah, he's a great distributor, but that's not the only thing I need from a point guard in today's era, right? I need more than just being him, than just being a distributor. I also need you to go and score. That's just how the NBA is today. It was the play that 2.5 went to Kobe, and Giddey in the wing was completely open. Both looked like they begged for the ball. Kobe instead took a super contested shot Usor was lucky to get. Oh, I see. Talking about the play earlier. Yeah. Lakers might come for Zach Collins on the offseason. That's actually very funny. I'd be shocked if they did, though. $18 million for the Lakers is way too much money. Too many better, cheaper contracts for the Lakers. Yeah, I understand it's half joking. Yeah, he's feeding everyone as long as people are moving. He's going to feed the ball on cue. Oh, yeah. I completely agree. Like, I think if you're going to move, then Giddey's going to give you the ball, which is very, very, very important, right? You need that in your offense. But that's how he gets his assists. Like, it's not the assist of like, oh, I'm going to penetrate the lane, collapse the defense, kick it out. He's had more of those recently, but that's not the way he gets most of his assists, right? He mostly gets his assists by being the best passer on the team, right? Which, again, very valuable, which is why I say more Draymond Green than Luka. But again, like he's gonna probably be in between those two guys. Like he's gonna be kind of just a mix of like how both Draymond and Luka get their assists. Is just kind of the in-between area, which is fine. Like, and very valuable. Does that mean though you're gonna be the guy? Probably not. I'm okay with Zach as rotational center that appears half the games on a good team, like injuries and match dependent off the bench. He's better fit at the moment, though, which is what I like. Yeah, I think he looks much better than Vooch out there right now. Because defensively, he's able to actually play the pick and roll defense, which, again, Vooch cannot. And for a team that lacks perimeter defense, that becomes more valuable because there's really no good perimeter defender out there besides Lonzo, with Io not 100%. So, yeah, I mean, for sure, it's that right now it looks phenomenal because it's like the perimeter defense is so damn awful. It's like, oh my god, we have a big that can kind of go up in the pick and roll defensive sets, like amazing. Is that going to continue though for the rest of the season, where he's going to be averaging like 17 and 15? No, it won't. I promise you that. But yeah, I mean, if we can find a way to. If we're going to re-sign him, it better be for much cheaper than $18 million a season, because next year, $18 million is way too much money for him. But obviously, we're not the ones to give him the contract, so that's not our fault. He has been vacuuming the rebounds as Zach's defense, and he isn't playing with people who is a negative in rebounds. I mean, right, but also Collins is, like, if you're looking at who are the two rebounders out there, it is Josh Giddey and Zach Collins, okay? Like, not even Jalen Smith, who played tonight, who wasn't really playing that much. Like, he's not really known as being a rebounder, right? You have basically two rebounders on the floor. Like, I hope that Zach Collins is getting the rebounds. He better. Cuts are the single highest success rate for every team scoring at the moment in the NBA, and isolation only scores 0.8 per possession. So I'm in for cutting-based offense compared with transition that is high. So yes, you're right, Charles, about that. But at the same time, I'm also for... there are just gonna be times where you just can't get the cut, right? Like, there's just gonna be times where you can't get the look that, like, you know, if you're trying to be spreading the ball, like, there's just times where you have to just take the ISO. And ISOs, honestly, sometimes are just better. But okay, first and foremost, isolation possessions are much better than posting up. Okay, that is first and foremost. Like, isolation possessions are a much better option than posting up. The problem is, though, with, like, if you're relying solely on cuts, it's just that teams just switch, right? Hence why you need to sometimes ISO, because you need to take advantage of the mismatch with whoever has the ball, right? Hence why with Giddey, I'm just like, I would love for him to do that. If Josh Giddey can take advantage of mismatches on the perimeter, then yeah, he's your main ball handler in the future. That just hasn't happened, though, enough. So it's just kind of just like where we're at in terms of where, like, we need to find a guy that can either take advantage of mismatches down low consistently, which Vooch cannot do that, or you're taking advantage of mismatches on the perimeter, which is then that's your main ball handler, right? So yeah, I mean, I would love to have a offense kind of centered around, you know, setting screens, getting cuts to the rim, and playing in high tempo offense, which, yes, I would love to watch it. I think it's great, but at the same time, you still need that guy, right? Just like with the triangle offense, everyone talks about it. Like, the triangle offense was all about, you know, passing, cutting, ball movement, but at the same time, in the triangle offense, you needed a guy to just give the ball to if everything went wrong, right? Like, if you didn't get anything out of all the sets that you ran, and you passed it 8 times and still can't get anything, then you need a Michael Jordan to go and make the shot, right? Same thing with the Lakers, right? You need a Kobe Bryant to go and make the shot. So just like with this, right? If the Bulls have a offense centered around, you know, making cuts and consistent player movement, and you're setting screens all over the place, and it just kind of doesn't go anywhere, then you still need somebody to go and make the shot and give the ball to bail you out. Because just the way the teams run their defense today, there's just a lot of switching. So it kind of nullifies some of those opportunities where you can try to get off-ball looks. Hence, then the ISO is needed. There are very, very good ISO players in the league, and they're all superstars right now. So I still think that no matter what, you need one of those guys for you to be successful. Because I do think AK is trying to build a team where you don't have one of those guys, but let's be honest with ourselves, that's not going to work. You need someone to bail you out at any point. Teammate this night was awful boxing out. Fourth quarter onwards, holy the easy offensive Raptors got. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's just going to be an issue as long as we're small and everything. It's not a double doubles for me with Collins. More eye test things like screen, defense, and movement. People made him sound unplayable. I mean, let's be like, AV Breeze, if you go and watch some of the stuff with San Antonio, he did not look very good. So yeah, I applaud him, but let's also again be real. Like, I won't be shocked if he goes and has, you know, the next 6 games are not great. Just saying. That kind of plays like Steven Adams. Yeah, I can kind of see that comparison for sure. Adams doesn't shoot the 3 ball. He's less on a perimeter, but yeah. I do think Adams is a little bit more oriented towards offensive rebounds. Like, if there's one thing that, if you had to describe Steven Adams in a nutshell, it is offensive rebounds. That's what he does the most. He's also a phenomenal screener. I will also give him that. But like, if I had to like tell someone about Steven Adams, the first thing I'm bringing up is offensive rebounds. I think with Zach Collins, the biggest thing is just the like his overall pick and roll defense looks really solid. That's really shocking to me because I did not expect that at all. Maybe he was hurt. I mean, granted, I understand that is a thing. So maybe he was hurt. The butt. So Gary. Good, okay, see what SG was in there was perfect with Chet or JW. Facilitated most of the plays, you know, they scored and took more shots than he was the facilitator. Right, but that doesn't mean main ball handler, right? Like, just because you're the facilitator doesn't mean main ball handler. Like, what people are trying to tell me, though, is that Josh Giddey is the main ball handler, right? That's different than being a facilitator within the offense, right? So, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just that he's not the main ball handler. Like, we're talking about J-Dub is going to probably be getting like more dribbles than Josh Giddey overall. Like that's how we look at it. Obviously SGA was, you know, he came in and was, you know, the guy, and he's an MVP candidate. So like you're going to roll with him. Hence then you have to sacrifice Giddey on ball opportunities, which is fine. So with Giddey, it's like, how can we find that sort of balance of like, because again, I don't think he's going to be your main superstar moving forward. Okay. Like if Josh Giddey is if Josh Giddey is your best player moving forward for like you're trying to rebuild and like you're gonna be surrounding your talent like around him, that's a problem. Like you're not gonna be winning it. Like I'm sorry, I'm just here to say it. Like if Josh Giddey is your best player, like I don't know what the hell the Bulls are doing, but that's why this upcoming draft is important. The next draft's important. Like the Bulls need to go and get their superstar. So it's like, what's Giddey's balance between when the Bulls get their superstar and then, you know, how is he gonna balance the on-ball, off-ball stuff? Because he still needs to find a way to be effective off-ball, which 3-point shot, right? Lonzie and passes knee doctor info along to the beat. I think they're actually going to talk. I actually think it's going to talk. Look, they're going to talk about things and such. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. Driving, kicker, pick and pop, slash rolls are still 1.1 points per possession. Oh, I mean, yeah, the pick and roll is always the main thing. But again, it's like, you know, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's just like if you're going to run an offense like the Warriors do, then you still need the Steph Curry to run the pick and roll when there's nothing going. And it's just like, okay, well, we just need to make something out of nothing. And yeah, you run the pick and roll and try to figure it out. Like, that's how it works. Or you ISO, right? If you have a mismatch, you got to ISO it and let them go. You guys build a bad team for anything. I mean, the comment that AK made during the press conference after the trade deadline, where he talked about he thinks there's 2 ways to build a team, which is that it's one where you go and get superstars and get a bunch of role players, but then the other way is you get 9 to 10 solid players and you go and win that way. That's gonna stick in my head forever, because that to me shows that he doesn't know how to make a team. So if he thinks that Josh Giddey is gonna be the best player on the team and he's your best solid player, right? Maybe not good enough to be an all-star or whatever, but like he's your best solid player or whatever. It's just like, what? Like, that's not gonna help us win. Like, we're not gonna win that way. I'm sorry. Like, you need to go and find a superstar, which I have no faith in them finding. And I mean, hell, I don't know if you guys saw Joe Cooley's recent tweet, but it was just like, if the Bulls don't get a top 5 pick, we should trade, let's say, the 9th overall pick for Dalton Connect. I'm like, what the hell are we talking about? Why would we do that? I am not trading the 9th overall pick for Dalton Connect. That is stupid. Like, that is a horrible decision. Steven Adams is the best offensive rebound screener, hands down to me. Not even a question. He only has gone second occasionally stats-wise due to minutes low, etc. when he boxes out for point guards. I mean, yeah, Steven Adams is just... That's been his entire career. He's been very good at all those things. Defensively, like, I think people think he's better defensively than he is. He's not that great. But he's obviously he's serviceable, which is what we're saying. I'm gonna start calling these 3 plus white guy lineups the Backstreet Bulls. That is very funny. The Backstreet Bulls. Guys and Rockets are 9 to 10 solid player teams. Guys at 4 fringe all-stars that sort of do fit there and sort of don't if it was the other conference. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Is Donovan Mitchell an all-star? Like, forget what team he's on. Is Donovan Mitchell an all-star? So I'm waiting for a response, but basically, Donovan Mitchell is an all-star, okay? Like, the Cavs are built off of Donovan Mitchell and also Evan Mobley recently, okay? Evan Mobley right now is looking like he's going to turn into one of the best two-way forwards in the league. So, I'm just saying that it's just like, I get what you're trying to say, Charles, but I don't think that's enough. Like, I'm talking about what we're specifically looking at these teams. Like, you can't just have like one all-star and then a bunch of like solid guys, right? Like, let's look at again most recent championships, right? Every single most recent championship, you're looking at all these teams had a superstar. The biggest argument that you can make is the 2004 Detroit Pistons, but they still had 2 Hall of Famers on the team, right? Like, that's yet again, it just shows you, it's like, we're looking at teams that all have superstars, okay? The Rockets is going to be interesting to watch, because it's like, I do think that is more a 9 and 10 solid players on the team, okay? Are they winning the championship this year? Probably not. Like, let's be real. I wouldn't be shocked if Rockets go out first round, even if they have home court advantage. So either way, my argument still stands. It's like, you're not going to be building a championship caliber team with just 9 to 10 solid players. Your best player, which Şengün's honestly had like a kind of a rough year. But I mean, it's probably him, right? Jalen Green's been a little bit better since the new year, but it's just, yeah, I will say that the way the Rockets get their offense is very weird. It's something that we haven't really seen in the past 20 years. It's like a team that like really heavily relies on offensive rebounding and not really relying on the 3-point shot, and you're scoring a lot of points per game. Heavily rely on your defense and your athleticism to try to get you points. It's very crazy to watch. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely interesting to look at. Are they winning the championship this year though? I don't think so. Wouldn't be shocked to go out early. He says he's focused on these next 2 draft classes in 2026 free agency. I'll believe it when I see it. Because let's be real, the Bulls tonight, they were clearly not thinking about development. I mean, Montes Buzelis didn't play many minutes in the 4th. He didn't play at all in crunch time tonight. I think that's an issue. So, I'll believe it when I see it. I see best players, I don't see as pure star-centric. Okay, but my argument is, again, like, you can't build a team of just like, okay, you have 1 fringe all-star, and we're talking about 9 to 10 just solid players. Like, you can't just go build a team of like, okay, all 10 of these guys could be starters. That's not going to work. If you had the 5th pick, would you try to package it with Kobe for Zion? No, I would just make the pick. I think Zion is a win now player. I don't want the Bulls to do that. They need to go try to build for the future, not try to win now. I don't know, put Mitchell an all-star? That's crazy. Mitchell was an all-star before he got to Cleveland. cannot judge Mitchell fairly because I always hate him for the fake 71-point game. I mean, okay, sure, you can hate on him for that, but Donovan Mitchell, no matter what, has been an what is he now? A 6-time All-Star? Yeah, he's a 6-time All-Star. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that's only made like 1 or 2 All-Star teams. Like, we're talking about a guy that is a 6-time All-Star now. Like, come on, let's just be honest. Jose Cleveland in general, okay. I think Mobley. I honestly, I mean, really, I think Evan Mobley is like we're looking at this guy. He's going to turn into like one of the best forwards in the league, moving like soon. So like, Cleveland isn't where they're at without Mobley's emergence this year. Like, let's be honest, right? Because like you could argue that Evan Mobley last year was also just a starting level caliber player, right? But he's turned himself into an all-star this year. So like again, you're not just depending on just a bunch of starting level caliber players. You're depending on guys that are genuine all-stars now. I think Garland, you can make the argument, sure, is like kind of like this sort of like, okay, yeah, he's probably not an all-star on other teams. Like, sure. But I think those two guys though, Mitchell and Mobley, are like, these guys are now like solidified all-stars at this point. They've been way too good this year. Jared Allen's very good. I mean, I think he's a very efficient center in this league. But yeah, I wouldn't call him an all-star either. Bulls got some decisions made this offseason. I love how even when this team is not good, their prospects are still exciting. To be honest, they've been playing fun and hard lately. I mean, here's the thing though, Delbert. I agree that they have to make some decisions soon. They just don't have a lot that they can really do because a lot, like most of the team next season is kind of just all under contract. Excuse me. Sorry, my pain is coming back here, so I might have to end stream soon. I mean, again, ideally you move Vooch off. That's the biggest thing, but like everybody else is kind of here. Your two biggest decisions: one is Josh Giddey, the other is Trey Jones, because they're both either restricted or unrestricted free agents. And then it's like, you know, do you trade Kobe White? Which I've been on the train of that you do trade him, but you should have traded him at the deadline and not in the offseason. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely some decisions to be made. It's just that, like, there aren't really a lot because most of this team is here next year unless they trade some of these main guys, right? And one of the pieces that a lot of people want to keep right now is Josh Giddey. He's the restricted free agent. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Again, I don't think Zach Collins is getting moved. I mean, if Kevin Huerter is going to shoot 50% from three-point range, then maybe, but that's still a lot of money for just a sharpshooter. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do. If it was up to me, I'm doing anything in my willpower to get this guy off the team. And I would probably trade this guy. And we'll kind of go from there and see what else happens. I know that people want to make decisions on Dalen Terry. You're not. I mean, I'd be shocked if Javon Carter is able to get off the team without being waived, but we'll see. And then obviously you got to re-sign Josh Giddey and Trey Jones. Who knows? Like, I could see Trey Jones not coming back. But yeah, I mean, Bulls have to make some decisions for sure, but it's just gonna be. It's like, next season, if you're expecting a different team, like the only thing that the biggest thing for me is just going to be the top 10 pick, ideally, that we get. That's like the biggest kind of new person that's going to be added to the squad. And if it happens to be a guard, then I would personally be looking to get rid of this guy. Not hating Kobe, again, just stuff. Range is better, Kobe White. I think Jalen Green has more potential than Kobe. But for now, I think you can make that comparison. Those sure presence on the court. I mean, I understand it's nice to have him. Again, I would personally look to move him because this is a very valuable contract. If I get a first round pick for him, awesome. I just teams typically just don't give out first round picks for role players, so it'd be very hard to do that. But I mean, I know that they were offered a first the deadline for Lonzo. Shocked they didn't take it. So yeah, we're gonna have to make some decisions on that. But I wouldn't be shocked if Lonzo's just here, which is fine. I'm not gonna be like, it's the wrong decision overall, but it's okay. I thought we were scheduled of teams led by smaller guards. Do you think the Cavs supporting cast is just strong enough to compensate compared to Brunson and the Knicks? But AV Breeze, my biggest thing that I said about the Cavs is that if Evan Mobley becomes their best player, then they're not led by guards anymore, right? That was my biggest thing, right? I said Evan Mobley was the key difference. Like, yes, I think the New York Knicks, for example, I have no faith in the New York Knicks right now. They look cooked. I think Tibbs is playing them to the dirt, and then Brunson's your best player. Like, that's a problem. But if Cat can like be the guy, which I don't think he's ever been at any point on a playoff caliber team, then maybe they have life, right? But for the Cavs specifically, though, I said it was Evan Mobley. If Mobley can become their best player, their best two-way player, then he's going to be the reason why they move forward. It's not always going to like show up as like Mobley's going to score the most points, right? But he is going to be having the most impact on the court. And that's going to give the Cavs the chance for them to move forward, compared to what we saw in previous years with the Mitchell and Garland backcourt. So that's the key difference, right? That's a lot on Mobley for sure. Like, I mean, that's significant on Mobley to be that sort of player where you're averaging like 19, getting all the rebounds and also being the best defender on the court. That's a lot. I'm very much aware that's a lot to depend on Mobley. He probably won't be the leading scorer. I do think Mitchell is going to have to still be that. But you could argue at the end of the day, if Mitchell's only averaging like, let's say 23 or 24, but Mobley averages 20, 12, and 3 blocks, then like Evan Mobley is probably your best player, right? Yeah, it's gonna be a lot on him for the Cavs moving forward. They're looking phenomenal. But yeah, I do think that there is always skepticism where it's like, let's say, for example, the Milwaukee Bucks the 4 seed, and they, I don't know, let's just say they beat Indiana in the first round. Like, is it going to be, are you going to be choosing the Milwaukee Bucks or the Cleveland Cavaliers in that series? That's very, very tough to answer because Giannis is very clearly the best player on that team or in the series. So it's like, are you betting against the best player, or are you going to be betting against the team with the best record in the NBA? That's a very hard thing to kind of figure out. So obviously if Mobley can be that sort of guy, then I think the supporting cast is going to be better. To be fair for Mitchell, I guess this season I just felt Garland has outplayed often in depth they had, not the level of Celtics or OKC depth, but yeah, you're right. I guess all-stars. I mean, I think people are not talking about how good Evan Mobley's been this year. Mitchell, again, I think Mitchell, I mean, if you don't want to call him a superstar, I mean, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily call him that either. But, like, Evan Mobley's been really, really good this year, bro. Like, this guy has suddenly turned himself into a very, very awesome two-way forward. And we're looking at him as, like, okay, like, this is the type of guy we need for him moving forward to take this Cleveland team to the, East Conference Finals and further. So it's gonna be on that, honestly. Come next season for some small wings for cheaper contracts around that come available. Yeah, I mean, the mid-level exception is there for the Bulls, so it's just like, it's either they're gonna sign a center with it, assuming they don't draft one, or yeah, it's gonna have to be at the wings, because I mean, we all know Patrick Williams is not dependable, whether you talk about play or availability. And there's too many guards on the roster, so yeah, it's gonna really have to come down to just getting some wings, because of lack of availability from certain guys, and then just the roster construction itself. So we'll take a quick look at that in a second. So is that for encore, and a few players like that make a big difference in the mentality of the rest shifting? I hope so. It's like, I understand the effort that Zoe gives. It's just it's yet again it's like, I love him. I think, again, everything he's done this year has been phenomenal. It's just that, is that worth it to not like is that all that play and you probably getting a few extra wins because of it? Is it worth it compared to getting that first round pick you could get? Um, a lot of people are gonna be like, no, just keep Zoe, and I get it. It's just, a guy that's one. I'm very happy he's healthy this year, but it just the injury history concerns me. Like I'm very concerned about his injury history moving forward. Like either way, like I get the knee looks great. It's just that he missed a lot of time this year with the wrist injury. It's just it just is who he is, unfortunately. So it's like you're betting on him being healthy, and then again, it's just he's a win now player. So fans love him, and so again, I love him. Not here hating. Again, I love Zoe. It's just we're at the point now where we're at as an organization. Like, is he supposed to be here right now? And honestly, bro, like, if there is anything, and now granted, Zoe doesn't have injury history on his side, but if there is anything to kind of show you of like, I don't really know how this market's going to work out for Josh Giddey moving forward. I mean, I was shocked as hell that Zoe accepted this contract because I thought Lonzo could go onto the open market as an unrestricted free agent and get more than $10 million per season, okay? But Rich Paul, out of all people, told him, no, this is probably a good deal. So what the hell is the market for this upcoming free agent class? Like, if Lonzo Ball is only going to get $10 million a season, then I don't know what the hell these other guys are going to be getting. Like, the market might have significantly shrunk for some of these guys because no one wants to spend money because of the new CBA. So, once again, just another reason why we have to, like, for Giddey specifically and his contract, you have to play it correctly. You have to set him in restricted free agency because you trying to jump the market when you have no idea what the market's going to look like right now, like, that would be a very bad decision. So again, go play the market. Just let him try to figure it out. Go and get the contract. Who do you have in Eastern Conference Finals right now? I think it's hard to bet against Boston, so I'll say Boston right now. After that, bro, I mean, I won't lie, I have no faith in the Knicks right now. Like, the way that the Knicks look, I just have no faith in them. It honestly, for me, it's gonna be between Cleveland and Milwaukee. I know Pacers looked good recently, but don't have faith. I'll say Cleveland for now. I know it's chalk, but I mean, the East is the East, unfortunately, at this point. Maybe Cavs or Busquets Mobley is good enough to hold Giannis to a bit less in their strong defense area of the team. I mean, that's kind of obviously the hope, right? And then the guards, like Garland and Mitchell combined, beat Lillard and the rest of the supporting cast. I'd even take Mobley marking Giannis with already D this season as Jared Jackson Jr. I would also take that. Yeah. The Clippers don't give Simmons a minimum contract again. I would take that swing. The Clippers, then they wanted Simmons minutes both visually and plus minus overall flyer with high upside. Oh, you're talking about for the Bulls? I had to see the rest of the market personally. Hawks in finals did they play Cleveland or Boston open round? That's very funny. I don't think the Hawks make it out of the play-in. Which honestly, bro, I mean, God, the Bulls are on their way to the play-in, and that's gonna. I don't know if I ever have wished for the Bulls to ever lose a game, but whenever the Bulls do play, whether it's Atlanta, Orlando, or Miami in the play-in game, I am gonna be praying to God we lose in the first game. Because if we make the playoffs with this team, bro, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. With the way the pick is currently at, like I would be so livid if we make the playoffs right now. They make kryptonite against those two teams. I mean, I wouldn't take that bet in a 7-game series though. Not super like, but I'll put it an actual chance. Really? I personally wouldn't. I might give you Cleveland. I don't know about Boston though. Charles Hawks losing to us in the play-in as tradition. Oh my god, bro. If we win the first game against the Atlanta Hawks and then it's gonna be against Miami again. Oh my god. I hope Miami just beats us at that point. Was it not in a series versus the Hawks this season? That's crazy, but I'm not taking that in a 7-game series. It's an always tradition for us to lose in Miami. Yeah, I mean, that's the plan, right? We beat the Atlanta Hawks. You know, I guess we won't be at home this time, but we'll beat the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. And then we're going to go travel to Miami and then lose by like 30 or something like that. No, Jeremy, so Miami doesn't count. I mean, doesn't matter. Kevin Love's going to like check in and hit like 5 threes against us because that's what he does. Okay. All right, I think this was a good overall catch-up stream. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, and look, once again, like, I'm sure some of you have seen some of my Twitter stuff. Not this past week. I have not been on Twitter this past week at all, but before that, with like talk about Giddy, like, okay, I'm not hating, bro. I want Giddy to shut me up and everything, but I just think that we have to be realistic about this and, you know, remind ourselves that Giddy, you know, he had a phenomenal start to the season as well from 3-point range. So, like, is this going to continue, right? If Peter Pan's going to continue doing this with Giddy, then awesome. I mean, hell, I'll be quiet. But I think with Giddy, it's just going to be fun to watch. I mean, if you don't have any reason to tune in, like, I don't know what to tell you, but I think you have every reason to watch right now for the Bulls, even though that they're going to be losing a lot recently, or these upcoming games here. So tune in, bro. Like, go ahead and see if Josh Giddey's gonna kind of shut people up about, you know, someone like me saying he's not going to be the main ball handler of the future. Or how is some of these younger players going to look, specifically Julian Phillips and you know, Galen Terry did get some minutes today, but like Buzelis, how is he looking? I won't lie. One of the things I didn't really discuss about this, but like my overall just my overall kind of thought process with Patrick Williams, man, I'm so scared about him moving forward. I'm like genuinely nervous that like his time is just gonna be so bad. That contract is looking worse and worse by the day, and he's not playing now, and it's like, you know, I know everyone's like talking about like, oh, you know, you gotta take advantage of when Zach isn't here, but it's like, bro, like Pat's not even available to take advantage of this, but it's like, would he even be taking advantage right now if let's say he was playing right now? Like, would he be even able to take advantage of like, yeah, we're straight up, we're gonna be, you know, Pat's gonna be going out there and like looking like a whole new player, and it's just like, because again, like whenever the Bulls do go and get some, you know, a better player that maybe is gonna play his position, it's like, it's not like it's gonna get more opportunities. It's not like suddenly he's just gonna be getting a bunch of like on-ball opportunities or anything like that. And I'm just so nervous with Pat moving forward, but we'll see. Hopefully it works out with him. I think Pat's out for the rest of the season though. I'm not gonna lie. I would be very shocked if suddenly he's gonna be looking good. Oh, did I get a? Oh, thank you, Charles. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. $5 Australian. Thank you so much. Did I get well? I'm gonna do my best, man. Yeah. Okay, so one more time. Sunday, I'm probably most likely not gonna stream. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best here. I'm sorry again for missing all the time I did, but I've been in, like, you guys haven't even understood, like, I've been in excruciating pain. So I've just been in that sort of mode of like, I need to get better. I've had to go to a lot of just kind of therapy and everything just to help my overall pain. So I do apologize about this. Sunday, I know the Bulls, we'll preview this before we go here. Sorry. I don't. Did the alert pop up for you guys? I don't think it did. Right? It should have. Oh, we have to catch Schultz, Smith, Burke on Wednesday. Oh, AV Breeze. Yeah, I'll talk about that with you. I'll talk about that with you before I end stream here. Charles, did the alert play for your super chat? We're just looking for the times you're on, like when Alonso plays. That's funny. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know why can't I pull this up? Sorry, hold on. I don't know if I'm gonna pay attention to that. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. I don't have my glasses on, so sorry. I need to pull this over to my main monitor, and I'm gonna hide this because it has important information. Why didn't this? I don't think it did play. I'm like literally looking at this right now. Elements. Why? Gallery. Hello. Edit. Do we need to edit this? Alert box. Hold on. Oh, I'm so stupid. Sorry, I tried replaying it with the wrong scene up. That's so stupid of me. Why didn't this play? That should not. What the hell? Okay, hold on. That's concerning. Do I need to do this? Hello? Sorry, this bothers me, so just give me 1 second. I do apologize about this. What? It showed up on Stream Elements, but it didn't show up at all on OBS. Why? Okay, whatever. I'll fix it. I'll fix it next stream. Thank you again, Charles. Sincerely appreciate it. I'll at least see on my other screen. Yeah, I don't blame you. Sorry, this bothers the crap out of me. Like, why didn't this play? It didn't show up at all. So you heard that from Stream Elements. Okay, that's from the online Stream Elements. That's not on here though. I need to. One more time. Oh my god. This is so stupid. Why? Okay, well, this is just clearly my things I need to work out as a streamer, because clearly I'm not ready to do everything. Sorry, this is that's insane. Why won't it show up? What the heck? It's showing up on Stream Elements. It just doesn't show up on my OBS right now? Okay, cool. We'll figure it out later, I guess. Okay, so previewing next game, both stick down to Pacers in Indiana. It's gonna be a 4 p.m. Start Central. Pacers need to win this game just due to seeding and everything. Pistons are on their asses, and they gotta try to figure their stuff out. We'll see how this one goes. I'll be interested to see just kind of the difference in or how like the teams play. Which I guess I'm looking at now. Like, I mean, yeah, there is a big difference. Like the 3-point attempts usually are pretty different right now between these two teams. So it'll be interesting just to kind of watch this one. We'll see who's available, bro. I wouldn't be shocked if Vucic doesn't play the rest of the season, which is fine by me. Like I'll live if that does happen. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if the who is going to be available, and hopefully we're going to get news on Patrick Williams soon. AV Breeze, are you still here? I can quickly talk about the that spring training game with Schultz, Smith, and Burke. This is a baseball thing, so I'm sure that if you don't watch baseball at all, then this doesn't really relate to you at all. Are you still here? Okay. I'll just give my quick thoughts. Holy hell, I'm so excited for Noah Schultz. That guy, like, I mean, I've seen obviously the highlights, but I was keeping track of StatCast that entire time, and like he's consistently hitting 97, 98 on his sinker. And I'm just like, oh my god, that like his spin rate's insane on a sinker. I'm like, bro, this is awesome. Like he looks insane. I'm aware that everyone's like, oh, he didn't get strikeouts or anything, but I mean, if every ball is hit into the ground, I mean, we're looking amazing with him. He'll strike out his people, I promise you that. Hayden Smith honestly could not be more of a Rodon clone than ever. Like that guy is genuinely Carlos Rodon. Like he's just in a nutshell Carlos Rodon. It's so funny to look at. So I'm excited about him as well. I think Hagen Smith could easily just shoot through the minor league system. Like maybe he doesn't show up this year in the majors, but like he will definitely be on the team next year. I expect to see Schultz this year. But yeah, I mean, those two guys are going to be awesome. And then, yeah, Sean Burke, bro. I mean, I know that they're trying to kind of work with him to kind of be like more east-west type of a pitcher versus like north-south. And yeah, that would be awesome, bro. Yeah, I'm very excited for all these pitching prospects. I mean, we haven't even talked about like, I know like Jairo Uriarte's potentially on the way. Is like, you know, he's trying to be a starter, probably won't be. I think Jairo Uriarte is probably gonna be like a bullpen, like probably closer type guy. But I mean, ideally Drew Thorpe is gonna get better. I mean, I like Jonathan Cannon. Yeah, Grant Taylor. Oh my God, Grant Taylor's StatCast numbers look insane. I was aware of Grant Taylor last year, and so I know a lot of people were not that aware of him. But like, yeah, he's gonna be awesome for the White Sox in the future. Yeah, the amount of pitching depth is awesome. The hitting depth and the position depth is not great. We have some issues there, but I'm very excited for the pitching. My biggest concern, I won't lie, bro, because like it's gonna be so funny to look at this, but like Miguel Vargas, bro, looks so bad at third. Like he looks so bad that I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know if I can stand even like a week of him playing third base. I know that they're going to do everything in their willpower to make sure Miguel Vargas is on opening day roster, unless he's injured. But that guy is, he's such a defensive liability, and his bat isn't good enough that I'm just like, bro, I do not need Miguel Vargas playing, especially if we have any of our young pitching prospects on the mound. Like, if Drew Thorpe or Jonathan Cannon, the two guys that I expect to be in the rotation to start the year, are going to be on the mound, I don't need Miguel Vargas at third. Lenny Sosa has actually been very good, and a lot of people are kind of already like they're out on him. But like, I mean, if the spring training ended today, then Lenny Sosa needs to be on the team over Miguel Vargas, and he just plays third instead. So, the position depth is always scary for me, and I feel like everyone's gonna be concerned about it moving forward because, I mean, if Colson Montgomery doesn't work out, what are we gonna do? Third base is still a revolving door at the moment. Second base, who the hell knows? But yeah, I'm very excited about the pitching, bro. I'm very happy Chicago Sports Network broadcasted that game because they had to. Because if they didn't, I would have been losing my mind. And yeah, like seeing those two guys as like they're just gonna. I mean, I think they're just gonna dominate the minors this year. Assuming Schultz is going to stay healthy, which is the big question. But I mean, they should just dominate the minors this year. And yeah, we'll definitely be seeing Noah Schultz this year, assuming he's healthy again. But Hagen Smith, bro, I would not be shocked if we see him this year, because that's a guy that with the stuff already, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't really need to see much more from you, honestly. So yeah, what are your thoughts, AV Breeze? Any quick thoughts you want to share? Oh yeah, by the way, Schultz, the StatCast kept saying Schultz's cutter was his four-seamer. I was just like, what? I don't know why StatCast kept doing that to Schultz's cutter, but it was very clearly a cutter, but it kept saying four-seam fastball. I'm just like, that's not a four-seam fastball. That is very clearly his cutter. I watch way too much Sox minor league baseball, so I'm very high on both of them. Do you pay for the minor league games? Oh yeah, you get a free T-Mobile plan. Okay, yeah, you're set then. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure last year with Birmingham was awesome to watch because that team was very solid. Yeah. You're set though. You got it good. I personally will never be paying for that, and I don't have T-Mobile. But yeah, you're set. You're in a good spot with it though, with all of that. So yeah, enjoy this year. It's gonna be a fun year in the minors this year. I think that my biggest concern, honestly, right now, because it's like I don't know what your thoughts on this, but I just don't think Colson Montgomery's ready. Like, do I think we see him this year? Yeah, but should he be the opening day starter? No, I don't think so. I mean, if you ask even some of the other scouts around the league right now, like they're saying the same thing. I know he hit the home run, but I mean, I just it's nothing like that spectacular from him. So like, I don't know. I understand that there's not that many options like Josh Rojas or whatever, but it's like, you know, I just wouldn't be upset if Brooks Baldwin is the starting shortstop opening day. I think having a guy that's a little bit more reliable in the field, and not saying that Colson's gonna be like awful defender, but like a lot of people are already kind of saying that he probably isn't the shortstop, like he probably shouldn't stay a shortstop moving forward, but we'll see. But like that left side of the infield, I'm so concerned. The entire infield, honestly, I'm just concerned because like I don't like Andrew Vaughn. And second base is obviously a revolving door right now, and you know, we'll see. Like if spring training ended today, it goes to Lenny Sosa, funnily enough, or he plays third. But God, bro, like I want to have faith in myself that we're not going to lose another, like have another 120 game loss season, but it's like like you would think that it's just not possible because like it is baseball and like you should be fine. Like baseball wise, you should not lose that many games again. But when I'm looking at the entire infield and I'm just like, I have no idea who's the starting second base, shortstop, or third baseman to start the season. I'm like, God, that doesn't give me any sort of confidence. And funnily enough, the only guy that we know that is going to be starting is Andrew Vaughn, and I have no faith in him. I think he is just a lost cause. So it's just so concerning. But and then it's funny because Andrew Benintendi is now out for 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm like, yeah, here we go. We're off to a good start, y'all. They lost craziest ways last season. Oh, I completely agree. That like there is the you could probably run the White Sox season last year 100 times and same players, same transactions, everything, and they probably don't lose that many games 99 out of 100 times, right? It's just we're just the White Sox. That's the problem. Like, we're the team that this happens to all the time. Like, the bad stuff happens to us. So I'm just concerned, honestly, that it's just going to be like one of those like really, really awful years again. I'm not expecting anything spectacular. I expect under 60 wins. But if we only get to like 49 wins this season, which I know sounds ridiculous, but like, you know, I'm just scared. Yeah, like, oof. That'll be rough. We shouldn't. The typical rule in baseball is that you win 60 and you lose 60, and so it's up to the other 42 games to what kind of, you know, happens for the rest of the season. I don't really go by that rule. I kind of say it's more so you win 50 and you lose 50. The White Sox didn't win 50 last year, but I mean, it's just one of those types of years. So ideally you should be winning 50 games, because oh boy, if we don't win 50 games this year, bro, oh my god, that really shows you that like all the prospect depth is in the pitching, and we need to figure out the rest of the depth really quickly, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that need to get worked out. But yeah, the great thing is the pitching. Like, if we're just a team that can just basically create like a bunch of pitchers like consistently, like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that, I'll feel very good about the franchise moving forward. But we're not that yet, or we haven't shown to be that yet. So yeah, HBO will save us and buy us some bats. Yeah, when will that happen, bro? That whole thing is hilarious to me, because it's like, I cannot believe the Reinsdorfs like asked Ishbia to come and buy more shares. But like, if you're Justin Ishbia, why would you buy any shares in the White Sox unless you're gonna get ownership of the White Sox? So I don't know when that will happen. It will probably happen like 2029, because that's when the field lease is up with Rate Field now. God, what an awful name, Rate Field. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Ishbia does take full control of the White Sox soon. It will save me from a lot of gray hairs and me losing my mind with Reinsdorf being an absolute douchebag. Yeah, I'm hoping that Ishbia does take over the team, and it'll be awesome. He can also take over the Bulls too. That'd be fantastic. It will never happen, but that would be a very good thing overall. Yeah. So we're looking forward to this season. Like, I'm really looking forward to the prospects and everything, but I'm also just like, I know there's gonna be a lot of bad games this year. Like, I know it's coming. Like, I'm very much aware that there's gonna be so many bad games where you're just like, man, like, ooh, that's a horrible loss. And it's just, do I want to torture myself with that? Probably not. Not every day, at least. So I'll definitely be tuning in whenever the prospects get called up, because we're gonna have a lot of them called up this year, especially the pitching side. And I'll enjoy it no matter what. Really quickly though, do you think Luis Robert is getting traded? And like, you know, before the All-Star break or whatever, or maybe even after the All-Star break, because that's the trade deadline second after, right? Hard to tell, honestly. Yeah. I don't know. If it was up to me, I'm keeping him. I know that everyone's like, we need to get bats, but it's just like, I mean, first and foremost, you need to keep him for the start of the season because you're not trading him now because he had a pretty rough year last year. But like, even if he like raises his value again, I'm just like, should we just keep him? Like, you might as well just keep him right at this point because it's like, I mean, hell, you need some bats, bro. Now I understand a lot of people say that's the reason why we need to keep Andrew Vaughn, which I'm like, no, we don't. Andrew Vaughn's garbage. Like, we don't need him. But I mean, Robert, I mean, sure, like, you know, sort of a 5-tool player when he's right. Vaughn is not that. Like, I know people are like, oh, he had 20 home runs last year or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't care. Like, Vaughn doesn't bring speed. He's bad defensively, and his bat was awful in the first 90 games of the season. So, like, I don't need him here. Robert, I understand, like, yeah, I mean, he's walking at least to start spring training, thank God. But, I mean, at least he brings the defense. He brings the speed if he's right. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, that's the guy that I think he can hit 40 home runs in a season. So, can Andrew Vaughn do that? No. Andrew Vaughn cannot do that. And the Vaughn defenders are very funny to me because he's had, I mean, bro, like, I always say this when it comes to Andrew Vaughn, like, the guy has accumulated basically, like, almost no WAR in, like, his what is it? This now it's gonna be his 4th season now? Like, you and I have basically almost accumulated the exact amount of WAR Andrew Vaughn has accumulated in his time with the White Sox. Like, we don't play, but yeah, Andrew Vaughn plays a ton of games, and it's like we've almost accumulated the exact amount of WAR he has accumulated in his games with the White Sox so far. Like, that should just show you just how bad Andrew Vaughn is. That you and I are almost as valuable as he is. I mean, what was even? And this is very off track from my channel, but it's just like, I don't even know what it was last year for Andrew Vaughn. It was just so bad, especially early in the season. Yeah, I mean, last year he had negative 0.2 F4. Like, so you and I, two guys that don't play professional baseball and sit at home and watch these White Sox, you and I were more valuable. This entire chat was more valuable than Andrew Vaughn last season. Like, that's how bad Andrew Vaughn is. So I'm just like, bro, we don't need this guy. But I'm aware everyone's like, oh, he'll turn it around, he'll figure it out. I'm like, no, he won't. Like, he needs to go and hit 40 home runs for him to even be valuable. Like, I mean, even here, it's like, bro, like, we're like, this is 1.3 F4. And we're talking about a WRC plus of 111, so like 11 above league average. Like, I don't think he'll get here. He hasn't been this good. Yeah, hold on, I just want to, what's his zips? His zips is 21 home runs. Like, that's assuming that he's going to be better defensively than last year, which he won't be. Jesus, bro. All right. Appreciate the quick White Sox talk. All right, I need to go to bed. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a ton. All right, what is this? I just saw this. Oh, okay, there we go. Cool, got it. That was weird. Sorry, my chat went back and it was just like it was bugging. So again, probably no stream on Sunday. I'm gonna be kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch this entire game just due to me doing stuff for my overall health. But yeah, so I'll probably see you guys on Tuesday. I forget who the Bulls play. Is there Orlando? It's Cleveland. Oh boy. Okay. So I'll probably see you guys after this game on Tuesday, and we'll chat about how the Bulls are doing then. How you feel about it? Thanks for the stream. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, I hope to be feeling better. I am better than I was 4 days ago. But I'm still kind of dealing with stuff here. So yeah, hope to get better. And back to full strength soon here. Again, I'm not sick. I'm just in a lot of pain. I've just my body's just has some wear and tear on it. That's kind of just hurting me a lot. So yeah, hope to get better soon. All right, y'all. Ads will pay after I end stream here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you whenever I see you next. Fun Bulls win tonight, I guess. But we all know that we need to be getting better luck in the lottery standings, which we didn't do tonight. But overall, Fun Bulls win. So cool to see it. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.